Good morning, all.
You got
Today, I am continuing the organizational culture. So, according to various studies, following following are the primary characteristics of an organizational culture. So, now I am discussing about what are the characteristics of the organizational culture. So, first one is the innovation and risk taking. Okay, so organization culture, the first characteristic is the innovation and risk taking. So always there is a risk and also there is a need of innovation for the organization culture. Then you have to innovate new things, and also we are implementing the new ideas and new methods in the organization culture. The degree to which employees are encouraged to take innovative steps and to take culture calculated risk. Okay, so the degree to which employees are encouraged to take innovative steps. Okay, so the employees are taking the innovative steps, then it will be helpful to the organization, and also there is a risk also there. Okay, so because there is some risk also there. Suppose if I are taking any innovative step, any new idea, because that is the new one, that's why there is some risk is there. Okay, so attention to detail. Okay, so next one is the attention to detail. So in attention to detail means the degree to which employees are expected to pay attention to detail. That means every employee must pay some attention, some concentration on the work, and also they are expecting the pay. Okay, so expected to pay attention. Suppose we need to pay some attention regarding the organization. That means every employee must pay some attention the tasks of the organization and what are the works in the organization. Then next one is the outcome orientation. So outcome orientation means we are expecting some outcomes from the organization. Then the degree to which management focuses outcome rather than on process to achieve outcome. Okay, so the degree to which management focuses, every management must focus on outcome rather than on process to achieve outcome. Okay, so then next one is the people orientation. So people orientation means the degree to which management gives attention to effect of decisions on people working in the organization and on its shareholders. Okay, so the degree to which management gives attention. Okay, so every management should pay some attention on the people those who are working in the organization, and the suppose the management is taking any decision that will be impact on the working of the people. Okay, so and also it is also shows impact on the shareholders also. The next one is the team orientation. So team orientation means every organization must have this characteristic. So the total, suppose the employees of the organization in organization, so must work with team spirit. So we are forming a teams, and the, there is we have to develop an organization teamwork and also team spirit. Then only the works are completed in within the time, and also we are getting the positive results also. Okay, then in this way we are implementing the collectiveness in the organization. The next one is the aggressiveness. So aggressiveness means the degree to which people are aggressive or competitive rather than easygoing. Okay, so some of the people are aggressive or competitive rather than easygoing. Okay, so because they are more aggressive and also they are more competitive. So this type of people also there in the organization. So this is also required for the organization. That means we are daily we are compete with others. Okay, so we are giving competition to the others, then only our abilities are improved, and also that is also helpful to the organization. Then next one is the stability. So stability is the another important characteristic of the culture. So the degree to which maintaining status quo is emphasized in contrast to growth. Okay, so the degree to which maintaining status, so we are maintaining some state stability in the organization. So and also we are maintaining some status quo. That means we are not regularly changing the organization culture. So some consistency is there. Then only the employees are also adjusted in that culture. Then next one is the individual autonomy. So individual autonomy means everybody has individuality, and they have their own ideas and they have their own behavior. So that's why everybody is feels like I am the individual person, and also I have some, suppose I have some rights. So according to that, I am only working. So I don't suppose I have some self confidence, and also I have some self respect. Then we are not uh, we are not happy with uh, uh, suppose the management is rigorous, or suppose your manager is rigorous, or he is suppose he what is that he scold him, suppose, then you are not ready to take any type of misbehavior of the manager. Okay, so because you are having individuality. Okay, then next one is the structure. So structure is also another important thing. The degree of rules and regulations and the amount of direct supervision that is used to oversee and control behavior. Okay, so the degree of rules and regulations. So uh, within the organization structure, there are some rules and regulations, and these rules and regulations are must followed by each and every employee in the organization. So there is a need of the supervision also, direct supervision also, that is used to oversee and control behavior. So if there, suppose the management should appoint a supervisor to continuously monitoring the behavior of the employee and control of the behavior. So then support the degree of assistance and warmth managers provide for their subordinates. Okay, so the degree of assistance and warmth managers provide for their subordinates. Then the managers must give some support to the subordinates. Suppose if they are facing any problems in the working, then the manager should give some support to the subordinates. Then next one is identity. So identity. So identity means the degree to which members identify with the organization as a whole rather than with their particular work group or field of professional expertise. So the employees are every employee must suppose they desire some recognition, some identity, uh, some identity in the organization. So because everybody has their individuality, so everybody needs some identity in the organization. So the management must provide this identity to the people. Then next one is performance rewards. So next one is the performance reward. So then those who are showing a good performance, better performance in the organization, then the management should recognize them, and also they are giving some rewards to that high performance employees. Then next one is conflict tolerance. So conflict tolerance means the degree of conflict present in relationship between peers and work groups, as well as the willingness to be honest and open about differences. Okay, so the degree of conflict present in relationships between peers and work groups. Okay, so there is a degree of competence in between the peers and work groups, and also there is a tolerance, conflict tolerance. That means suppose if suppose is there any mistake done in the organization or the groups or something or individual level, then we tolerate them. So we tolerate tolerate employees. Suppose they are doing some small mistakes. So under the small mistakes are the reason for a conflict, then the management also tolerate that employees, and the management gives some chance to that employees. Okay, then next one is attitude towards change. So another important thing, attitude towards change. So everybody should try to change their behavior, and also everybody have some values, and everybody has some, suppose every person has their own way to work, then we respect that one, and also there is a response for that, there is a responsibility for that also. Then next one is focus. So focus is the vision of the goals and objectives of an organization's operations as communicated by those in control. So the focus is very, very important. So focus is nothing but every organization must have some vision and goals and objectives, and every person must follow the vision and goals and objectives of the organization. So every action and every suppose every task which is done by the employee, that ultimately relates to the vision and goals of the organization. Then next one is standard and values. So standard and values means the levels of performance and behavior considered to be acceptable by formal and informal criteria. So suppose every organization has some values, some standard values. So then every employee follow these standard values. Okay. Then rituals. Rituals means expressive events that support and reinforce organizational standards and values. So rituals also one of the part in the culture. So the rituals also there is a chance to reinforce the organizational standards and values. Okay, so that means it is a reinforcing tool of the organizational culture. Suppose if you want to change any change in the organizational culture, changes in the organizational culture, then it shows the rituals are shows a major impact on that. Then next one is the openness, communication, and supervision. Next one is the openness. Then openness means everything is open in the organization. So suppose there is no disclosure of anything. That means if it is confidential, then it is not disclosed to anyone. Rather than that, everything should be disclosed, and there is no favoritism, and also there is a good communication in between the employees. So, and also there is a strong supervision on that. The next one is the market and customer oriented. So then market and customer orientation means, suppose if you are suppose if your organization is a production based organization, then there is a need of the marketing, and also there is a customer orientation. That is also one of the important thing in the organizational culture. Then next one is the excitement, pride, and aspirate decops. So then some excitement and some pride. Suppose your organization culture gives some excitement and also pride, then a tangibly good feeling about the organization and its activities. Suppose if you are employing the TCS company, or if you are employing the IBM or some Infosys, or these are the some of the level 5 companies in the industry, software industry, then every organization has their own culture. Suppose if you are getting a job in the TCS company, then it's like as a government job. And recently the Tata chairman is announcing, suppose those employees which are died with the reason of corona or affecting of corona, then up to their retirement age, the company is giving salary that person to their family. Okay, so this is the culture, good culture. So, and the remaining companies also try to follow this type of policies. Okay, then this gives assurance to the remaining employees. Okay, because the employees are suddenly died, then their family is suppose there's facing some problems because they are losing their income. That's why the company is giving support to that family up to 60 years, up to retirement age. The company is paying the salary, the same salary to that person's family. Then this creates some confidence in the employees. Then this is the one of the good culture, organization culture. Okay, then the remaining companies also following this type of policies. Then after that, the Reliance is also announcing they are paying some 50% salary, not 100% salary. They are also paying 50% salary up to 60 years of the, suppose the age of the 60 years of the employee, died employee. Then this is some good culture. Okay, example of good culture, good organization culture. Then next one is the commitment. So commitment is the willingness of the individuals to work toward goals on a continuing basis. Then commitment, every employee must have some commitment to organization. Okay, so they are what they perform, okay, and what they are doing in the organization, ultimately that leads to benefit to the organization. Okay, so then next one is elements of culture. So what are the elements of culture? So according to Shane Deere and there are three basic elements of organization culture. One is the artifacts, and second one is the exposed values, and third one is the basic assumptions. These are the elements of the culture. Then first one is the artifacts. Artifacts means if it is the first level of organization culture. Okay, this is the first level of the organization culture. It is observable symbols and signs of the organization. So it creates some we are observing some symbols of the culture and also some signs of the culture within the organization. It includes visible parts of organization, example structures, process, etc. So artifacts and hard to decipher. We are not decipher. That means we are not decrypting the artifacts. Okay. Then next one is the exposed values. So next thing, important thing is the exposed values. These are the reasons, strategies, goals, philosophies given by an organization for the way things are done. It is the second level of organization culture. Okay. So these are the reasons given by an organization. Some of the strategies, goals, and philosophies of the organization for the way things are done. Okay. So how we are done the things. So that means how we are doing the things and how we are achieving the goals of the organization and how we are following the strategies, which type of strategies we have to follow to achieve the goals, and all the things are there in the exposed values. Then next one is the basic assumptions. Okay, so next important thing is the basic assumptions. So basic assumptions are the beliefs that are taken for granted by the members of an organization. Okay, so every organization has some basic assumptions, and also every person has some basic assumptions. These are ultimate sources of values and actions that include unconscious perceptions, taken for granted beliefs, thoughts, feelings, etc. What are the include? Suppose in the basic assumptions, uh, unconscious. That means we are not conscious. We are not conscious about the organization culture and perceptions. Every person has some perception and taken for granted beliefs, and every person have their own beliefs and thoughts and feelings in this third level of organization culture. Okay, this is the third level of the organization culture. Then within the basic assumptions may be distinguished with respect to their core basic values. Okay, so there are some core values, basic values that are important for every organization and also human being. Then core values are the primary or dominant values that are accepted throughout the organization. So the core values are accepted throughout the organization because these are very, very important. Every organization must follow these. Then, thus the dominant culture reflects the core values that are shared by most of the members of the organization. Okay, so these are the values are majorly and most of the employees are follow this organization, these organization values. So according to Martin, there are four such core basic values. So these are the four basic values according to Martin. He said four important basic values for each and every organization. One of them is sensitivity to needs of customers and employees. So we are dealing with the customers and employees in a sensitive manner. And second one is the freedom to initiate new ideas. And we are giving a chance everybody for new ideas, freedom. We are giving some freedom to the employees uh, to initiate the new ideas. Okay, then only we are getting. Suppose we are then only we are benefited, and also there is a chance to innovative ideas. Then third one is willingness to tolerate new risk. And suppose we are taking any new innovative things or innovative ideas, then there is a chance of the risk. Then we are ready to, we are willingly, we have some willingness to tolerate the new risks, and we are ready to face the risk, any type of risk. Okay. Then next one is the openness to communication options, and we are openly communicating with others. Okay. Then these four basic values must follow by each and every employee in the organization, and the organizational and also organization. Okay. Then, however, presence of dominant culture within the organization does not mean that there may not be subcultures within any given culture. Okay. So suppose we have some dominant culture within the organization. It does not mean there may not be subcultures within any given culture. So the meaning is, suppose we have some dominant culture. The meaning is we have some other subcultures in the organization also. Then particularly in large organization, there may be subcultures within the dominant culture. If there is a dominant culture, uh, dominant culture already there in the organization, and there is a chance to subcultures also. And subcultures are mini cultures within an organization, typically defined by department designations and geographical separation. Okay, so subcultures are also mini cultures, also called as mini cultures within an organization, typically defined by department designations and geographical separation. So it is purely based on the department designations and also geographical separations. And some organizations may have strong culture, whereas others may have weak culture. So some organizations have some strong cultures, and some others are having weak cultures. In organizations having strong cultures, core values and intensely held and widely shared. Okay, suppose those who are having the strong culture and core values are uh, they are having strong commitment, and also they are successfully achieving the organization goals. If suppose they are having a weak cultures, managerial styles may be more person centered. That means they are only focusing on the person orientation, not on organization orientation. Then strong cultures lead to more behavioral consistency and less employee turnover. Okay, so then every strong culture is leads to more behavioral and consistency and less employee turnover. Okay, that means employees are not, suppose those organizations having some strong culture, then the employees are not leaving organization, then they are working for a long time. Okay, then also there is a behavioral consistency also. Then strong cultures may also serve as substitute for formalization. So it is also substitute of a formalization. And various studies suggest that national culture has a great impact on employees than does their organization culture. So then the different persons are studying about the organization culture. Then they identified the one of the important thing, the national culture should shows a major impact on the person, not an organization culture. Okay, so the organization culture is not showing a major impact on the individual culture, but the national culture is shows a major impact on the human culture, individual culture. Okay, then this factor should be taken into consideration while applying behavioral intervention in multicultural organization. So suppose if you are implementing a behavioral intervention, suppose you are applying a behavioral intervention in the multicultural organization, then we are consider this point. Then the national culture is very, very important thing. It shows a major impact on the individual culture. Okay. Then functions of organization culture. So next important thing is the functions of organization culture. So what are the functions of organization culture? So culture is the social glue that helps hold the organization together. There are three basic functions of organizational culture. Okay, so culture is one of the important thing. So helps to a social, like as a social glue. Glue means gum. Okay. So then we are attaching with others. There is a, it creates some impact in between the, suppose it creates some relations in between the people. The culture is developing relations in between the people in the society. It's like as a glue. Okay. There are three basic functions of an organizational culture. One is the, it provides a sense of identity for members. Okay. So the, it provides some a sense of identity for members. Okay. It creates some identity uh, for the members. And second one is the, it enhances commitment to the organization's mission. So and everybody must focus on the organization mission, and everybody should have commitment to achieve the organization mission. Then it clarifies and reinforces standards of the behavior. Okay. And also it gives some clarity about standards of behavior. Then Child has explained that culture is one of strategic tools of control in organization. So the culture is one of the important thing of the strategic tools of control in organization. According to him, culture control helps in four areas. Okay. So culture control helps in four areas. What are that areas? Is development of strong identification with management goals. So there is a development of strong identification within the with management goals. Suppose every management some goals, then it creates some strong identification. It develops a strong identification to achieve that management goals. Then development of semi-autonomous working with few formal controls. And also there is a chance to development of self semi-autonomous. That means we are giving some freedom to the managers and every department to take their own decision on some particular situations. And there is some few formal controls on the employees. Then having strong emphasis on selection, training, and development of personnel. Okay. So there is some having some strong emphasis on selection, training, and development of personnel. Okay. So selection, training, and development of personnel. Okay. Okay. So then having reward oriented climate towards security of tenure and career progression. Okay. So then some, suppose having reward oriented climate towards security of tenure and career progression. Okay. So then it is a towards oriented towards security of tenure and career progression. And every employee must have some security, some need of some security and some career progression. Everybody deserve it. Then also they are also rewarded. They want some rewards from the management also. Okay. So these are the functions of organizational culture. Then, however, there is another side of the coin. So if organization culture can be an asset, sometimes it may become some liability also. So organization culture, sometimes it is worthful, and sometimes it is not useful for the organization. There are dysfunctional effects of culture, especially a strong one on organizational effectiveness. Okay. So some in sometimes the some culture is affecting the effectiveness of the organization.
Okay.
Some of the barriers created by especially a strong organization culture are following. So there are some barriers for the organization culture. First one is the barrier to change. Okay. So then consistency of behavior is an asset to an organization when it faces a stable environment. Okay. So then consistency of the behavior is very, very important. Okay. It may, however, burden the organization and make it difficult to respond to changes in the environment. Suppose you are having some consistency in the organization culture, then it leads to there is no change. Suppose you are not accepting the changes in the organization, then it leads to some problems to the organization. So we are welcoming the changes. Okay, according to that, we have to change the organization culture, but not randomly. Suppose we are not frequently changing. Okay, so we have to take some time and some after some period of time then we are need to change the organization culture depending upon the outside factors, okay, external factors. Then barriers to diversity. So especially in multicultural organization, people from different cultural background may bring diverse strength to the workplace. Okay, then within suppose in the organization there is some 100 employees are there. They are came from different areas and they are came from different cultures. Then everybody have their own culture, and this is also one of the important thing, and this is also helpful to the organization. Okay, then we are adapting different types of culture, and we are knowing the different cultures in the country and also different cultures in the world. Okay, so then according to that, we have to change the organization culture. Then suppose if you are framing organization culture that is acceptable by all the cultures. Okay, suppose it is suitable to the everybody's culture. Okay, then at these diverse strengths and behaviors are likely to diminish the strong organization culture due to strong pressure for conformity. Then everybody is comfortable, and it creates some strong relation between the employees, and everybody is adjusting with the organization within the organization, and also everybody must accept the organization culture. Then again, organization culture may become liability if it creates institutional bias or perpetuates insensitive approach to people from different culture backgrounds. Suppose you are framing the organizational culture based on only single culture, then it leads to some problems to the organization, because some other people are not accepting that culture. Okay, suppose if you are strongly imposed, everybody must pray the god. Suppose some Hindu god or some Christian god or some Muslim gods, then it creates some problem, because everybody their own culture and also their own god and their own religion. Everybody must respect their own culture and their own religion. That's why you have to not impose anything to all the employees to follow this culture. Okay, so then we have some diversity. Okay, so then we are accepting diversity in the culture, then only we are achieving the goal of the organization. What is the suppose what is the main aim of the organization culture? Then barrier to acquisition and merger. Then during acquisition and merger, high degree of culture confluence takes place. Suppose some Infosys companies take over some TCS company, then the two cultures of the organization are different, because the TCS culture is different, the Infosys culture is different. Then suppose after merger, this management has some suppose the Infosys culture is implemented in the TCS culture, then the employees are not adjusted in that culture, because already there is a strong organizational culture for TCS company. Then the employees of the company, the TCS company, are feeling some burden to follow that organizational culture, the new organizational culture. Okay, so and we have some strong organizational culture. This is a barrier for acquisition and merger. Okay, suppose you are merging with some other company, or you are acquiring the some other company, that people are not adjusting in the existing company's culture. So this is one of the barrier to for acquisition and mergers. Okay, so these are the barriers of organizational culture. Okay, so that's it. Today I stopped over here. Thank you all.